Hello and welcome to another segment of the LPE Author Chat Series. I am your host, Kimmoly K. LaBoo, CEO and founder of LaBoo Publishing Enterprise. This week, we have our special Anthology Edition for the authors of the Black Father Perspective. And tonight, our special guest is Jason Woodford. So welcome to the broadcast, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. How are you?
I am wonderful. This is a special day, dual special day. My oldest son graduated today. They
Yay!
had a ceremony. So shout out to CIA, Community Initiatives Academy. And
That's
also,
awesome.
you didn't know this. Today would be my father's 91st birthday. So that's why
Oh,
I scheduled today.
wow.
So this is a special. So
Wow.
I dedicate this interview to his legacy and to his memory today. So yeah,
Amen.
yeah,
That's awesome. I didn't know that. So
yeah,
that's extra special. Thank you for sharing that.
absolutely.
That's great. So we're just going to get started and I'm going to ask you, let's see, your chapter title is Daddy Made the Difference. How fitting.
Yes,
Daddy
right.
Made the Difference. I love that title. So please share with us why you chose that title.
As I was preparing for the chapter, and as I alluded to it to those that have read it and will read it, um, it took a little time for me to gather my thoughts um, about fatherhood, whether I wanted to talk about, there we go, whether I wanted to talk about myself, myself as a father, or talk about my experience as a son having a father. And thinking about him and his impact on my life, um, it landed on talking more about my experience as a son, experiencing a strong, loving father. And so with that came the title, Daddy Made the Difference.
I love that. I love that. So I want to share a little bit from your chapter. I'm going to share several things from your chapter, which is
Wow.
so good. So good. You said, as I consider fatherhood from the perspective of a Black man in America, there's almost a sense of resistance from within. So I wanted to ask you about that. I wanted you to talk a little bit about what that feeling of resistance was that you were talking about in your chapter.
Um, it talked, that statement spoke to having to navigate certain emotions um, in order to express the stories and the memories that
Yeah,
I had to share within the chapter. Um,
yeah.
not only the memories of me being a father, but from childhood
Mm-hmm.
and how that impacted me as a man growing up. Um, the experiences that I've experienced growing up, both from dad and mom, and the positives and the negatives. And that resistance was having to tap into that emotional side.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a previous interview, I shared where males mostly, we are not socialized to feel, but certain emotions, mad, happy, and glad. But
Yeah.
anxious, we don't hear that language. Anxious, nervous.
Mm-hmm.
We're not socialized as males to delve into that. And so as I began to think about the chapter, those exact emotions came up. Anxiety, how much should I share? How much can I share? And be free. But as I thought about it, people want truth. They can feel and hear the authenticity in what they read. That this is not uh, a fiction. This is real life. This is nonfiction.
Yeah.
And so it was a slight moment. It wasn't a long drawn out thing, but I wanted to acknowledge it
Yeah.
in my chapter to kind of give brothers from whatever ethnic background the freedom and the encouragement. It's okay to go there.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel, even if you don't have the language for it.
Mm.
But for me, it was definitely, I felt it. Um, and so there was some resistance. And I just wanted to touch on it. A lot of the chapter, I wanted to not give it all, but enough to draw conversation so that we can talk
Yeah.
about it. And so
Yeah.
that's how I approached it.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what you did. So
Wow.
enough to bring about that conversation, and I love that you did go there.
Hmm.
So there were just so many nuggets in your chapter, and just so much power in your chapter. I loved it. Um, so you wrote about um, you had separate categories within your chapter. So you had the moment, the
Yeah.
model, the man.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and so in the moment you were sharing about your birthday party, so I wanted to read something that I just thought was very powerful in that too. You wrote, "This should be our desire that we paint on the canvas of children's hearts the signature message to them: I am glad you are here. Before we correct them or chastise them, when they look at us, can they see in our eyes that we are glad that they are here?" Even in the absence of the trinkets and materialism that we sometimes use as surrogates for rather than extensions of our affection, can they feel that we are glad that they are here?
Yeah.
Now, I just thought that was just so powerful, because I think sometimes as parents, we can overdo it trying to give our children what we didn't have.
Sure.
And in the long run, it's like what they really want from us is us.
Is us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I just wanted you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. It ties into your first question about
Mhm.
really going there emotionally. A lot of
Yeah.
times, and I tied that term surrogate as a replacement to the emotional gift that our
Mhm.
children need from us. And a lot of
Yeah.
times when we can't express verbally, like "I love you,"
Mhm.
"I'm proud of you," these
Mhm.
things push you to go to a place inwardly so it can come out. And so
Yeah.
we use material things to say those things. And though it's
Mhm.
received well, it's really not impactful um,
Yeah.
because the novelty of the thing wears off. But if we give our children, whether it's our biological children, whether we are teachers,
Mhm.
if we're touching children's lives, they automatically they're the most intuitive uh, creatures on the planet. Children are real.
Yeah.
And so they can tell if you are happy to see them. And I think that's important in the context of parenting, that when our kids walk in the room, are they a burden?
Yeah.
Does our face show a burden? Does our
Mhm.
temperament show um, why are you here? Or does it show
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here? And
Mhm.
that's what I wanted to touch on as I opened up the chapter.
Yeah.
Really kind of hit it and then kind of expand as we went along.
Hmm. Yeah, that's just so important. I know it was for myself, I was just always so deliberate, about when my kids came into the room. It's like, I'm going to stop what I'm doing, turn and face them, listen. Like, if my children, because I have boys, and boys
Yeah,
don't talk a lot, so
that's
when
right.
they show up and they want to have a conversation, or my son comes and he sits on the edge of my bed and I can
Yeah,
tell he wants to talk, I stop everything. I don't care what I'm
absolutely.
doing. I
Absolutely.
stop what I'm doing and pay attention and listen to him.
It's important.
To both of them, even my oldest being 28, like if he comes and says, "Ma, let's talk, let's do this,"
Yes.
I'm going to give them that
Yes,
time and that space and that undivided attention, because it is so necessary,
it
so
is.
necessary.
It
That's
is.
so important. So I'm really glad you shared about that. Um, so also in your moment, in the moment section of your book, you had a list of thought-provoking questions for
Hmm.
the reader, which I thought was very impactful. You asked, "Have you identified your moment?" And then you also asked, "Have you identified when your child's moment happened?"
Yeah.
That is so powerful. So, can you share with us, without giving your whole chapter away, a little bit about your moments?
Yeah, it's we can only give where we have gone. So our giving is based on what we've learned from an experience. And so uh the first question that you asked, have you realized your moment? So we're starting with us first as parents. And
Yeah.
we parent from our experience. We parent from our, I won't say pathology, I won't get clinical, but just
Mm-hmm.
our experience as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Have we dealt with those things in our lives and really examine how that affected one, us as individuals, and two, now as parents? Um, what was that moment? Was it when the big sister left to go to
Mm-hmm.
college? Was the moment the divorce? Was the
Yeah.
moment when dad left or didn't come back, or mom left and didn't come back? I think
Mm-hmm.
when we fail to touch those moments, it's hard for us to even empathize, not empathize, but acknowledge or even
Mm-hmm.
discern the moment in our children, because we
Yeah.
haven't done the work internally. And it's not an
Ooh.
indictment. It's not an indictment on
Yeah.
anyone, because it's the human experience. But I wanted to touch on these things to get people thinking, um, and doing the work. Some of our work will be retroactive as parents.
Mm-hmm.
We will have to go back and do some work on ourselves so that we can try it on our grandkids or our nephews, or our
Yeah.
nieces, our cousins. Um, but that moment is pivotal to our
Mm-hmm.
development, to the belief systems that are developed as we
Yeah.
grow up. What is truth? What truth is this experience, or what truth did this experience give me? And is it
Mm.
true? So, I don't want to get
Yeah.
too much in the
Yeah.
chapter, but these are the kind of engagements that I wanted to present in
Mm-hmm.
writing, so that people can sit back and say, what was my moment?
Mm-hmm.
And really pause, not just
Yeah.
read through the book and get some quotes, but really introspect. and
Yeah.
and we'll find out that we have some treasures even in our trauma.
Mm-hmm.
There's some treasures,
Oh yeah.
and we just got to work it. We just got to
Yeah.
work it and not be afraid to go
Yeah.
there. I think that's going to be the word tonight. Go there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, I really think that that's what holds a lot of people back, though, is that
Sure.
inability to go there because they're afraid of what might come up, or they're afraid of what it's going to make them feel, not realizing that going there is what's going to get you to where you
There.
need to be. That's going to free
Absolutely.
you and for you to be able to go and do everything that God called you to do. And there's some
Absolutely.
people that are absolutely resistant to go back to that place to dig up whatever that is,
Yes.
whatever that moment is, so that
Yes.
you can grow and flourish. And so many people are afraid of that. And I
Yes.
get it. I get it,
Yes.
because it can be a scary thing.
It is.
However, it's so necessary, though. It's like so many people's freedom is tied up in that.
The moment. In the moment.
Oh, man.
In the moment.
That's some good stuff right there. Woo. So let's move to the model. So we've been in the
Yeah.
middle. Let's move to the model.
Mm-mm-mm.
And so I just want to read what you wrote. You said, "My father didn't have to administer corporal punishment. In our vernacular, whip your behind."
Yes, indeed.
Told me, "Why should I have to beat you when I have the power? If you
Yes.
don't listen to what I say, I'll just cut off your privileges because you will need me to do something." And I remember my mother used to say, "You will need me before I need
There
you."
it
I used
is. There it is. That's right. Must
to,
be a
like you
universal
said,
parenting strategy.
yes. And you said fathers should teach their sons how to use their power appropriately. So,
Yeah.
how do you teach your son to use that power appropriately?
Um, of course, by example.
Hmm.
And that's why I put it in. I'm so glad you're pulling some of these things out,
Yeah.
because it's drawing the conversation that I really want to
What?
draw out.
Yeah.
Um, we are the model. The fathers
Hmm.
are the model. We are the foundation. In a
Hmm.
perfect world, you have mom, dad, family. Um, we are the model. We are the. I always say children need our presence more than our voice. Um,
Mm.
we don't. So they're watching what we do more than what we say. Really, children don't even
Yes.
hear us. They really
That's
They
true.
they really don't. They really don't hear us, but
True.
they see us and they feel us. And
Hmm.
I may be moving ahead of where you want to go, but we really
No,
don't
no.
hear. We really don't hear our parents or our models until we get older, and
Hmm.
and we teach we teach our children by what we do, not by what we say initially.
Yeah.
Um, and it's as they grow up and when they start really tuning into our voice, they're going to go back to what they saw to see that when I started hearing you, Dad, when I started hearing you, Mom, let me go back in my memory to what you did, what
Right.
you modeled. And so my dad, he modeled fairness. He modeled power, but I touched on in the book, it wasn't a controlling, manipulating power. It was a benevolent power, almost like a kingdom
Mhm. Yeah.
where 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 I saw my dad, and I'm not saying because he's my dad, but this is the model that he showed, where he was the
Hmm.
king, and he took pleasure in making sure that his children looked well, spake well, dressed well,
Wow.
behaved well, because they represented a kingdom. And
Hmm.
so that's why it was easy for me to 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 get saved and go to church and understood the
Yeah.
kingdom message because he took pleasure in providing. Um,
Wow.
it was nothing to him to give me. He would give me $5 every day for school.
Mm.
Every when I tell you every single school day, I would
Wow.
wake up, go to the side of his bed, and there was $5 every morning for me to get a snack, football, or whatever.
Mhm.
Benevolent king. So it was almost like I want you to do what I say because I'm good to you, not because you're afraid of
Mm.
me. You see,
Wow.
so the corporal punishment didn't have to really be administered at all because he was good. And so it was
Mm.
that's the part that makes my connection to God so easy because
Wow.
he's not drawing us, and I know it's not the revival edition, but I just gotta go
It's
there.
okay.
But it's not that we are afraid of God. He's going to get us. He wants to draw us because of his goodness. He wants us
Yeah.
to do what he says because he's good to us. He's providing for us. And so my
Mhm.
dad, that's what he was. And when you disobey, okay, then you're going to need me. But I need you to obey because I
Yeah.
want you to be where I am. I'm
Mhm.
teaching you something. I'm teaching you a principle of honor, protocol. And
Mm.
as I'm talking to you, it just confirms so many things of who I am today. I'm a protocol guy. You know, I'm
Wow.
I'm a I'm a you're the head. All right, I'll submit. And if there's some wrongdoing or something that needs to be challenged, I'll do it in honor, even though
Mm.
I'm honest. And so that's the pattern. That was the model that he showed me. That
Mm.
just be good. Just be good, which doesn't make it hard for me to demand obedience, respect,
Yeah.
not out of fear, but do it because I'm good to you.
Wow.
Yeah. And I
See?
think,
See
yeah,
y'all?
yeah. And
That's
so
some
that's
good
the
stuff.
model. That's the model.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my dad. That was my father.
Wow. Wow. Man, so okay, I'm going back in again.
Let's go. Let's
So
go.
you wrote, this is powerful too. Mothers and fathers across America and around the world. I understand how difficult it may be. And you were talking about your relationship, as far as your mother and father and separating and everything. You
Sure.
said, I understand how difficult it may be, but if possible at all, in some instances, to produce a positive relationship with your child's father or mother. However, if the opportunity for that child to connect to that parent is open, it may be difficult in the beginning when you call on the help of the one you trained your child to hate.
Come on.
Wow.
Come on. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah, go there because that's the conversation right there that needs to be had.
yeah. And later in the chapter, I talk about the effects of that,
Yeah.
without giving it all. But
Hmm.
I've seen not only in my life, but as a clinician, most of my young male clients are raised by their mom.
Mm-hmm.
And once they get to a certain age and you have a conversation with mom and with the son, you'll find that mom's adult situation or toxicity of that mother-father relationship has
Mm-hmm.
spilled over into that
Yeah.
child.
Mm.
And so it's an oxymoron, it's almost not oxymoron, but counterproductive that I see when that young male begins to exude his maleness in
Mm.
those preteen, adolescent ages when those hormones are raging, and you call dad to help you, but you've just destroyed. It's a word in church that we call iconoclastic, where you've destroyed the image of a thing.
Mm.
You've destroyed. You become iconoclastic. Uh,
Wow.
you've created that father. You destroy that image and that son's or that daughter's mind, but yet you call on that same father to help. And now he's frustrated. You're frustrated. And now this child is frustrated
Yeah.
because they can't receive. They're now confused because now you're sending me to someone that you hate and that you've trained
Wow.
me to hate. So how can we move forward? And so I wanted to, without going into detail, just put that out there and let that
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and cause parents to say, okay, am I working against myself?
Mm.
There's these
Yeah.
questions that I want to kind of spark in people's hearts and minds.
Mm-hmm.
I want my son to be a certain way. Uh, am I working against myself? Am I working against my son? Because the truth of the
Wow.
matter, or daughter, and the truth of the
Mm-hmm.
matter is, not only are you training them to hate their father or their mother, but you're actually training them to hate another half of themselves. And so now that becomes internalized. And so we see that they're living a fragmented life because
Mm.
you've actually destroyed the other half of them, which is their
Wow.
mother or their father. And so that's where that came from because I see it. I've experienced it.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
but but I see it every day, all day, and and we can look in the streets. I've many
Mm-hmm.
times I've stopped and just asked brothers, young guys, just random, you know,
Mm-hmm.
what's your relationship with your father? Instant anger.
Mm.
Instant. When I mean
Wow.
instant, I'm talking about instant lighter fluid, light the match, boom. Instant anger. And so if I hate my father, if I hate my mother, for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
whichever parent controls the narrative, in turn,
Mm.
I'm gonna hate, I'm going to hate half of me.
Mm.
So now I'm living in a half-baked, non-wholeness type of existence.
Mm.
And sometimes it goes back to that point, that
Yeah.
moment, that moment
Mhm. Yeah.
where the model was destroyed, where the
Whew.
model was destroyed. Yeah,
Wow. And there was even power in that. That brief statement where you just said, whichever parent controls the
controls the
narrative.
narrative. Yeah,
Man.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. Mm.
We're responsible for that. The
Yeah.
parent that controls the narrative, however the
Absolutely.
situation happened with mom and dad, whatever it may be, you may be justified in whatever
Yeah.
happened, but you are responsible for the narrative. Whichever parent has the custodial rights, the majority of the custodial rights, you are responsible for the narrative. And there is something about that dad. He may have been a womanizer, he may have been an alcoholic, he may have been a drug user, but there's something good
Mm-hmm.
somewhere that we
Yeah.
can focus on because that potential is in that child. And so we have to speak to the strength and the positivity of that other half, regardless of the negativity. There's something good in both
Yeah.
mom and dad. There's
Absolutely.
good. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Wow. Good grief. Okay. And we running out of time already, but
Oh my goodness, we just warming up.
so
Okay.
right, because now I want to talk about the man part, the
Oh
part
yeah.
about the man.
Hmm.
And you said in this part, you said I could tell that he was glad. And you're talking about your visit back to your father's house, and you said I could tell that he was glad I was home, but that didn't penetrate the parts of me that were hardened. So
Yes.
I want to ask the question because I just have to. Like, what did you
Sure.
eventually do with those hardened parts of you? And I want to ask that question because, as a woman, and I know other women, it's like we run into those unresolved, unhealed places of men. So I
Sure.
want to know, like, what did you eventually do to heal those broken places within you?
To be frankly honest, that healing process didn't start until I got married.
Wow.
Got married at 19.
Oh, wow.
Thank God for my wife. 20 years this year.
Yeah.
Um, she, in full disclosure, she bared a lot of in the early years of our marriage. She was a recipient
Yeah.
of some of those unresolved
Mm-hmm.
uh, pain, anger towards my mother. So it was the little boy
Yes.
who was mad at his mother, but couldn't voice himself, and so
Mm,
or couldn't defend himself, or
mm,
couldn't express how he felt. And so
right.
it came up in marriage in so many ways. But because of our faith in God, and we one thing we always did, we asked for help from people that loved us, and it's
Wow.
no one way or the other. I know for me, faith was a big part. Faith in God for me was a major part in the healing process.
Wow.
Um, you can't do this without faith. This is beyond human strength. You
Yeah.
need God. You need the Spirit of God to strengthen you, not only you but your spouse, whether you're male or female,
True.
husband, wife, whoever is carrying that load. You need God to
Mhm.
carry you through to give you that grace. And a lot of times, you know, you see the same thing in your spouse, and so you actually connect with the same person that you are in
Wow.
some instances. And so we were young, and so we were actually healing together
Oh,
and
wow.
growing together. We've had
Mm-hmm.
similar childhood experiences in some degrees, and
Mm-hmm.
so we actually healed together, and it brought us closer together. So yeah, to heal, um, most times it's going to take a hit. There's going to be a check to your ego. There's going to be something that's going to put it in your face to say you need to fix this. You need to work on this,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to have enough humility to say, yeah,
Yeah.
that's me. Let's do the work. Let's do the work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a level of humility.
Mm-hmm.
Without that, you're not even going to acknowledge where you're defaulting, where your dysfunction is. So if you're not
Yeah.
even humble enough to say I'm wrong, you're going to be someone's problem for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or you lose that person.
or you lose
Because
that person because
honestly,
they're not
yeah.
gonna fool with it. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's,
Yep.
goes back to what we were talking about, identifying that moment, going back and getting that thing. And sometimes God puts that partner in your life to help you through
Yes.
that transition. But if
Yes.
you're constantly resistant to that help or to that change, you see
It's not
it
gonna work.
as, why are you trying to fix me?
No, it's trying to help you.
Trying to help you,
Yes,
but if you
indeed.
can't receive that, then a lot of relationships die right there.
Absolutely.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you.
Are we out of time? We ran out of time
You
already?
it's just so much power and revelation in your chapter. Like it's just so, so good, But people, they're just gonna have to get the book to
You
get the
heard
ride
it, people. You heard it
because
for yourself.
I'm telling you, your chapter is first in the book for a reason.
Wow. Wow.
Like
I'm
because it
honored.
just pulled out so much and I just gleaned so much from it. I was like, okay, yeah, we gotta come out of the gate with this because it opens it up for the rest,
Wow.
of the
Wow.
chapters that
Wow.
follow. Um, and it just added to it, and so it was just so powerful. So I want to ask you, like, what it felt like for you to write. You hit on some of it already, but what it felt like for you to actually write this chapter.
It was confirmation that I was healed.
Mm,
It was documentation, um,
wow.
that I was healed. Um, in my world, in the clinical world, they said if it's not written, it didn't happen.
Wow.
And so this was documentation to say, yeah, I'm healed. Um,
Yeah.
I don't have to I don't have to be Ethan Hawke, like I said, but I don't have to. It's not Mission
Yes.
Impossible. I don't have to change my voice. I don't have to change my image.
Yeah.
Um, this is what it is, and I'm healed, and so I'm free to share it with the world.
Yeah.
Um, and I just pray that people are blessed by it. I pray that it
They
sparks
will
some
be.
deeper work
Yeah.
in them, and I'm glad that they're able to hear us dialogue. And so when you read the
Mhm.
book, some of the challenging things for those that's reading and going to read it, it's not an indictment. I want you to
Yeah.
hear the spirit behind what is written. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not writing from a place, my ivory tower of all things
Yeah.
perfect, but I
Yeah.
am sharing some things that have helped me in the past and things that are helping me now. So
Mhm.
it's not an indictment. We've made mistakes as parents, um, but we can learn from them and heal and move forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay, we got to land this plane.
Okay.
So, there has been a lot of media attention around the book this past week, which has been absolutely great. So, what
Amazing.
are you right? So, what are your thoughts about the direction that this project is going in?
I think we're all going to be surprised as to where this goes.
Yeah.
Um, I believe, I really believe that this is going to go global. I
Mhm.
believe it's really going to open up to the world.
Wow.
I believe people really want to hear from Black men,
Absolutely.
real stories, real triumphs, real trials. And
Yes.
and one thing people are drawn to the underdog. They're drawn
Mhm.
to the one that's slated, not what's the word they use at school? Not likely to succeed or
Yeah.
not likely to overcome. There's
Yeah.
something refreshing. There's something um, motivating when you see
Mhm.
people that have been slighted for hundreds of years, not to overcome, and yet we overcome. And I think
Amen.
for the Black man and for the father, this book was divine. This was divine, and I thank God for you, Miss LaBoo. This
Amen.
you were you. This is a sign that you are a praying woman. You heard God, and it's a
Yeah.
testament. And you are a model for Black women to bring Black men together. That is so
Mm.
prophetic. That
Wow.
it shows that it's going to take the strong woman to bring the strong man back. We
Wow.
need we need our women behind us in order for
Mm.
us to really be who we're called to be. So you sisters out there, you are important. You're more than a. I don't want
Amen.
to get preachy, but I just got
Mm.
to do this.
Go
You're
ahead.
more than what you look like. You're more than your hair, your lips, your fingertips. You're more than a twerk. You're more than thick thighs. You're more than, yeah, all of that is nice, but we need your essence. We need your
Mm.
strength. We need your voice. We need your
Wow.
validation. We need to know that when we look in your eyes, we don't see defeat. We don't see that reflection.
Mm.
But when we look at you, Black woman, queen, when we see our reflection in your eyes, we want to see this is the man, this is the
Wow.
king, this is the overcomer, this is the one that cannot fail. And when we look at you, Black woman, queen, when we look at you and we see that, we are unstoppable. And so
Wow.
this book, The Black Father's Perspective, is a model that we look in Miss LaBoo's eyes
Mm.
on Facebook and Zoom and all these other mediums we've been
Yeah.
having meetings. And when we looked in her eyes and we saw that reflection, she believed in us. And so this book is just a testament of this woman's heart for the Black man and for fathers all around the world. So I just encourage you to order the book and just be blessed by the content. And thank you, Ms. LaBoo. You're divine, absolutely divine.
All right. I got two last things.
Yes,
One,
ma'am.
the title of the book is The Black Father Perspective, What We Want America to Know. What is it that you want America to know as it pertains to you being a Black father in America?
We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We're here for legacy. Um, we're here for our daughters. We're here for our sons. We're
Yeah.
here for our women. We're here for our community. And as much as the violence is increasing among us, it's almost like in the book of Exodus, it said the more that Pharaoh put on the children of Israel, the more they multiplied. And
Wow.
so what we're seeing, man, I feel God. What we're seeing, what we're seeing is a testament that prophets are born, that deliverers are born. Anytime you see an influx of violence against the male, that's a sign that a prophet is here, that a
Wow.
deliverers are here. And so I just want you to know that this book is just a document saying that
Mm.
the deliverers are here. We're
Wow.
here. We're
Wow.
here.
Wow. That's good stuff.
We're here.
So, lastly, please tell the people how they can purchase a copy of The Black Father Perspective
Yes,
from
ma'am.
you.
Well, you can go to my website at J Woodford Senior. That's JWoodFordsr.com. You'll go to my landing page and you can order there, or you can just cash at me at $Jake SR, and I'll get those notifications and you'll get your book. And it most likely be in a nice gold fancy uh, packaging, you know. And
Awesome.
I would welcome your feedback. So you can DM me, FaceTime me, text me, and ask me questions about the book, and we can go from there. Or you can go to Amazon. Hard copies are available if
Yeah.
you would like that, or if you want the ebook, you can do that as well on Amazon. So
Amen.
either way, it'll be a blessing to all of us.
Amen. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for being my special guest on the LPE Author Chat series. This has
My
been
honor.
a phenomenal conversation. I just
I
thank
enjoyed it.
you so much. I thank you for your yes. I thank you for
Thank
your
you.
yes. Amen.
Thank you.
So to our viewing audience tonight, what a treat, guys! Thank you so much for hanging out with us for another segment of the LPE Author Chat series. And if you are thinking about writing your story, head on over to www.laboopublishing.com and connect with us there. Take care and be blessed, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night.